All right. Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Um,
Fantastic.
we're super grateful to have artist and musician Alan Moore,
Thank you.
for an interview today. So let's start with, when did you start making art?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I started making art at the age of 3. Um, One of the very first pictures I ever remember drawing was a picture of Big Bird. Um, and I just remember like how my mom reacted when she saw me draw. Apparently, I drew Big Bird in this gesture or this way where Big Bird was bending down and saying hello or something like that. And my mom was just like, oh my God. And, that's all that I needed to keep like going. So,
With that parent reaction?
yes.
Totally.
Yeah, that positive feeling, that good feeling. I mean, I felt good drawing, but then it's a difference like when somebody else is like, oh my God, that's really nice. So, yeah.
Yeah, like when you get a real genuine reaction from an adult and you're like, oh, I
Yes.
did something really
Like,
good.
all right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as an artist, what are your favorite materials or mediums to work with?
Well, I like to work with a lot of different mediums. So I use right now, I make my own records from hand. I create it using like glue, and graphite, and that's like pencil lead and a lot of other like materials. But really, it's all about like things that I find. So I might find something, and if it speaks to me, I'll paint it or I'll coat it with something. I'll take it apart. I'll put it back together with other things. So I really like to use a lot of different things. So stuff that I have laying around at home or stuff that you might see outside, like, I even use dirt, to make like my records and to make things. So it's kind of limitless, very much limitless.
That's so cool. And you said you make records. Would you explain that a little bit?
Okay, so, and I actually have one sitting next to me, so I'm going to explain this to you. I'm also going to key you guys in on a secret, which really not that much of a secret. So to make like a record, like a copy of a record, all you really need is wood glue. You take wood glue, and actually it's used to clean records. So you take wood glue, you can take wood glue and you can clean records off. So I took it a few steps further and I just figured out like different ways, different glues, just experimenting and figuring out how to take a material, because for me it's a lot about material. And if I show you this record, hopefully you can kind of see it. I'm gonna try to move so you can see through the light.
Yeah.
That it's kind of like inconsistent as far as like different things. This is actually an Acre record, this is a Wisconsin record. This is actually made from materials from the Driftless region in Wisconsin. So there's also, I think, definitely some bug spray in here, some spring water, some dirt. And what I do is I like take the things, I break them down, I mix them together, I create a special like solution. And I coat the record, and I just I let it dry. And a lot of the times when you make it, it's not a perfect copy, which is exactly what I love. But the great thing about it is that when you do it, it can actually play. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So it's like a base of wood glue combined with all sorts of other materials from a certain site.
Yeah. Well, so I'll say this. I definitely have my special formula.
Sure.
But the reason why I say that is because it took me a while. Like from that idea, I thought about, well, if you can just use regular wood glue, why can't you use other like glues? Why can't you use like, other materials if you're very careful about how you like manipulate them? So yeah, it's like it started like, with the wood glue experiment, and then like I've even made some records out of some like other, I can't, my brain, I can't think about it, but some other things that are like that. It took a while. Like I broke a few records, but it took a while to find it to do what I wanted it to do. Yeah.
That's super cool. Are a lot of the records about a certain place, or?
Yes. So I'll try to be concise as possible because it's a long story. I'll make it short. The ideal of me using these records really came from me and my mom and my family, but mostly my mom. When I was very young, we would, records were a thing. So we would play records and we would dance and we would have fun. Like my younger life is very much filled with music. My mom got really ill, and I want to say that she's still here with me now, so I don't want to make it super sad. But at that time, we were really afraid. I was only about 5, and I was really terrified because she wasn't doing well. She has a very rare condition, and so she almost didn't make it. And kind of after that point, we had to be more serious and take care of her, so we weren't able to listen to the records for a long time. That's why I make the records. It's all about, it is about place. It is about the materials. Like I very much do believe in like the power of like objects and the power of creating an object from other parts, and then also them being able to play like music, like and to like do these things. It's like I'm giving these objects and these places an opportunity to speak through like these records. So I'm hopefully channeling. I was said the wrong word. Channeling like a very like I guess you could say positive spirits, positive ghosts.
It's beautiful. Even like how musicians kind of get their ideas from all over the place and kind of synthesize that into a song or a record.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing that in a physical way, which is so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you show us a little bit more of your work?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to let you guys know that my place is definitely, since I've been here for quarantine, it's maybe a little junky. So I'll try to like keep you away from too much of the junky things. I don't want to hurt your eyes. So if you look at my setup in here, now this is my sound room. And it is indeed very junky, but voila, here we are. This is all of my like equipment. Well, not all of it, but like most of it. I also experiment with messing around with different turntables. So my main one right here is my Technics. I love this one. But then I have these other turntables that I have been trying to work with. Here's also some goofy pictures of me. So then I even have some toys. I just have things. I have books. This is my Star Wars, Star Trek shelf. I have a lot of things here. I have a 3D printer with my mixer. So there's a lot of things, I'm sharing like, the interiors of my home studio. I also have a work studio, but quarantine is probably not the best time to be like in a public studio. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead now. I'm gonna show you guys. Go ahead and show you guys, like, this is my visual art room. Okay. So, all right, this room definitely is like very junky. I also want to say that I have these like on the bed right here. This is an old roommate's room. So I decided to, instead of throwing the bed away, just kind of keep it so I can put my art. And this way, it just kind of sits on a soft surface, and then I can kind of spread them out like as I need. They do have like a lot of like graphite. So these materials are made from the same graphite material as, the record. So sometimes like they shed a little bit. So I just felt like, I'm just going to leave things here. Here are more records.
Oh, cool.
So this is like a prototype record. And so you can see that it kind of cracked, but it still works. But it was just way, way too hard. So I had to change my formula up. This was another record. And actually, it's funny. You just on my earlier records, you can kind of see like using different like adhesives, like some of the damage, that it did, but it definitely still played. But they kind of broke a little bit. This is also a record I used making Georgia red clay from my aunt's yard.
Oh.
So this particular record is dedicated to my aunt who, unfortunately, she passed away from breast cancer. But while she was getting treatment and we were taking care of her, I decided to go get some dirt from her yard, and I wanted to make a record kind of dedicated to her. So this is what this is right here. Dedication to her. So again, it's really a lot about place. This was another prototype record that I did, and I just was trying to play with some visual things. But, even though the things don't work, they still are it's great the knowledge that you gain from the experimentation.
Can I ask you a quick question that I've been asking a lot of the artists?
Yeah.
In the student art room, we talk a lot about making mistakes. I think it's kind of hard for young artists, especially, I think, and older artists to accept mistakes as part of their practice.
Absolutely.
It seems like you do so much experimentation. How do you use mistakes in your practice?
So that's a very good question. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start and show you this. So I want to show you guys okay, so this is kind of where I started with portraiture, right? Loved it. I think I'm pretty okay with it at doing it. And I'm going to go ahead and head back to the studio while I do this. But the reality of it is that you making mistakes, that is a part of my practice. This is kind of a part of what you do. Because you can make 100 things, and if 100 things that you make, only 3 of them are good. And I got that philosophy from photography. If you take 100 pictures, you have 3 good pieces, and you've done well, right? Well, here's the thing. Even mistakes, even things that don't come out the way that they come out, you have to see it as you're teaching yourself or you're learning. So you learn more from a mistake, I think, in many cases than you actually do from putting something down and making it perfect the first try. So understand how and why you did that. It's also giving yourself freedom. It's fun, right? Sometimes when I had to make a specific portrait, it stopped being fun because it was just really tedious. And I realized that I flourish, and then I think a lot of us flourish when we do make things that are just, we make them. And then there's step 1, there's step 2, there's step 3. And if step 1 through 20 is something that you don't even use, but it got you to step 21, which is the thing that you wanted, you also can allow your happy mistakes. There are a lot of happy mistakes. So I know I'm kind of all over the place because you could tell how excited I am about making making things and experimenting. I see it as I'm like a scientist, and I'm searching for an answer, but I'm also allowing other answers to come to me as well. So
that's a great answer. It's really kind of you don't know where you're gonna end up, and you just kind of have to keep making and making, and then all of a sudden you're oh, this is what
you do. No, you do. If I didn't make a mistake, I would have never discovered how to make my records, or 75% of my art came from me learning from mistakes, or figuring out that this material doesn't work well. Almost knocking out power in my building, which I've done multiple times, experiment. At least learn not to do that anymore.
I have another question about, so you did a lot of portraiture and drawing. Do you keep a sketchbook still?
Oh, absolutely. I keep a sketchbook. I call it my visual journal. I actually keep multiple sketchbooks. I probably have about 20 sketchbooks. That's including like some like sketchbooks that I've kept and not thrown away. Speaking of a sketchbook, I have like a little sketchbook right here. There's not a whole lot in here. I think it's actually one of my new sketchbooks, but you know, just kind of messing around with some ideas. I did a drawing. That's me walking with the cat, and I don't know. This is a dog cat. Listen, sketchbooks are really important because it's that ideal of like, yeah, you're just sketching, and it's like you're like finding your way, and you're like playing around with different things. And it's also really good to open it back up and look at things. And even if there are things that you might not be, oh, I don't think I drew that very well, but it's really good because you go back and learn some stuff. So even here, I tried to make a little Star Wars character. I'm not super happy about that character, but looking back at this, I definitely like learned how to, I learned like some other things so I can make newer stuff, right? Specifically using like, you know, different tools that you may have never used before. So it's super important.
Totally. Do you have, if you can give a piece of advice to young artists, what would you tell a young artist who's kind of starting out, trying to see if that's for them, or I don't know?
You know what? I want to say this, and I tell this to all of my students, and especially my young students. Just do it, Nike, okay? Meaning that you just try and you try. Also, there's the art world, or being like an artist, is open to you. It's how you want to do it. You don't have to even grow up to be a professional artist. You can just do it because it's something fun, it's something that you like, and it helps you. I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of family, I have a lot of people that I know that don't do art, you know, as a profession, but do it because it like makes them feel good. So I want you to be fearless. I want you to explore. I want you to challenge boundaries. I want you to challenge yourself. Have fun is the biggest thing about that when it comes to making art. Have fun.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share with us, or?
You know what? Maybe one small, quick thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you guys just one more spot. Since I'm like showing you guys like my like home studio, I might as well show you the last part of the home studio, which is actually a newer addition. So here is my drawing setup.
Ooh.
And then just showing like there's some stuff right here, some drawn stuff.
Wow.
It's very messy. And again, I have a lot of my toys here. So I just want to show that because, and I want to say this one last thing. I used to have a hard time, like, you know, kind of drawing and like doing stuff like, you know, different places. I only wanted to do it at my studio. And especially during quarantine and this situation now, it's really helped me to figure out a way to like just make like things. So I decided to make my living room. I decided to get this table. I decided to bring like everything together. So just want to give you some positive energy, because I know a lot of you like are like at home. Please feel free to grab things from home, even if you need just a cardboard box. That's how I started. You know, set up a little cardboard box drawing table. Do whatever you need to do. But like while you're home and while you're able to like, you're not able to go out and do that much, take advantage of some DIY stuff. Take advantage of making your own. So that's my last bit.
Thank you so much. That was great. We appreciate you opening your space and sharing your time with us.
Thank you. My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to hang up, but not really hang up.
Okay.